I think our Indian ladies are all hiding. Rani, you want to make this whole debacle which is going on in your life positive. The only way is to create an awareness.
Hello and welcome to Sit Still, Look Pretty. Priyanka, I have to say, I am very excited about this particular episode because anytime we get to hype up and celebrate womanhood, I am all for it. And that is why today we are diving into a story that's bold, beautiful, and honest. It's about strength, softness, and all the silent battles that so many women carry behind the scenes. And with that, this episode is so aptly titled Beauty, Business, and the Battle Within. Isn't it perfect?
So beautifully given an introduction. So now I feel like I have to make justice of the guest speaker that is joining us for today. And that is Ms Sivarani, better known as Rani, the founder of one of Singapore's most iconic business, if I can say so myself. I've seen her growing up. I don't think she knows me as a person, but I knew her as a person. She was a household name for a lot of people. And today I think a lot of women, when they think of Rupinis, they definitely think of the founder behind that person. Today we want to talk to her about the evolution of Rupinis, the business aspect of it, and of course, most importantly, we also want to address what happened back in 2012 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer when her daughter was going to medical school. So this is going to be about a journey of deep transformation about her business and the evolution of the success.
This episode goes out to anybody who had to be strong in silence, who are looking to slow down and start over, essentially. So, welcome, Rani, to the studio. We are so happy to have you here.
Yay! Thanks for the introduction. Oh my God, that inspired me completely. And let's jumpstart again, Rani,
As someone who have seen you growing up, I want to start with the business aspect.
Sure.
Of how you started back in 1994. That has been truly many years ago. But what is very interesting about that particular year is threading was not a thing. It was not widely known. Beauty aspect of a woman was something that people were also dabbling with. Do I outspokenly share about my beauty features and things like that? And at that point of time, you chose to delve into a business like that. I want to ask you, what inspired you? Why beauty?
Well, I was very, very passionate about my art and my drawing, my colors and all that back in school. And on top of it, in the cultural society, I was actually always, my grandmother and my father always tells me that, I'm supposed to name you Kalai Rani, but then just because I was born in Chitra Masam, right? So my grandmother, prayed that it should be born as a girl. So I'll put her name as Sivarani. So yeah. So I always had a flair for everything, especially in school, drama society, then, inter-school dress competition. I'll go for everything and dress up, people. So with all that, and of course, I started doing henna artwork and stuff like that. I was working as an in an accounting firm and all that, doing inventory, blah, blah, blah. But, my passion is always about doing bridal and all sort of things. So I used to see, hey, why is it? And that time the Rupini was born and all that. So every time there's only Chinese beauty parlors or Chinese hair salon, why is it that Indians don't do? So I was like, Mm-hmm. So I was like, why is it that, I can open a beauty parlor, I can do hairstyle, I can do, makeup. And usually the dancers used to do, the Bharatanatyam dancers used to do bridal those days. I'm talking about 1990s, those days. So because they're very, with the arc set and all that also, so it's so used to it, right? So that's be easy to replica for a bridal. But then, so I was thinking, okay, I asked my dad and I said, I want to open a beauty salon. But then everybody was like, oh, it's a very demeaning job. Low caste people will do this. So it's like, no. I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I went and learned. I went to India, and that's when I saw what is holistic beauty all about. So to be a beautician, when I went to India, the one thing they say is you should know everything from top to toe, not just hair, not just face. You know what I mean? So I learned more skills, threading and waxing. I learned and I came back. I was like, you know what? I want to open a shop. It was just a mere $2,000 rental. And then we opened up, of course, with my father's blessing, I opened a salon. When I opened the salon, so the first thing was, it's like, you know what? I want to reach out to the mainstream market, the major market, which is the Chinese and the Malays. Okay, of course, Indians will definitely follow through because something new at that time. So I started with the threading and the waxing and the hot oil massage and all that. Because see, back in school, I used, how the other races, you usually will say, oh, oily, your hair is oily, smelly and all that kind of stuff. Also, let's break through that and see, we bring it with the holistic approach and how people will perceive it. So true enough, they started flocking into the salon for threading. And of course, at that time, the Indian beauties were in the world map by then. And Madonna was doing this henna thing. And that's how it became like, wow, Indian beauty, we need to focus on. And at that time, again, I just put an advertisement in the Chinese papers and said, want to do threading? And want to learn threading? Please come. So that small little thing captured the eye of U channel at that time by Straight Times.
Oh.
At that time, you had a U channel and Straight Time was doing some bulletins there. So they came and featured me. Threading is supposed to be a Chinese trade. How is it that, that's it? Everything gelled very well and then we became very busy. And what matters to me at that time is that, just like a brand, Colgate means, it's toothpaste. So we would not say toothpaste, right? We would just say, hey, where is the Colgate, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So something like that. So Rupini means beauty. I wanted that to be a brand. So that was my focal point from then. Though I was not so schooled in my marketing and all that, and I did not have anybody to tell me. And of course, why we became very, very famous with the Indians is because, yes, that time Megastar, Mr. Kalishavan sir, was the first one to approach me and said, you must start advertising.
Wow.
So, you see, that's how I see we had all the right people all
At the right time.
At the right time. And I think that was the focus that we have to have in business first, and the vision. You must set up your vision so that, everything falls well.
Yeah.
And when you're young and vibrant, that's the right time to hit all that because you only be very driven to do this. You know what I mean?
Now, Rupini's has become such a household name in Singapore,
Yes,
right?
yes,
But I want to talk to you about the moment, the early fire that made you go, you know what, this isn't just a beauty parlor. I'm going to turn it into a legacy.
Yes.
Like what made that spark go off?
Yeah, so the legacy is okay, I always will fall back because it's my daughter's name as well, Rupini. Rupini means beauty. But that name gave me the driving force where I am right now. So no matter what, I will not crumble. No matter what, we go down. We would, it's Rupini, okay? So, and of course, not only that, I mean, the kind of number of people support that we had we believe and the trust. So that all drives me, every minute in my life. So it is like, yes, it's a legacy, but it's also a business. And as an entrepreneur, the fire will always be there. Whatever it is, you rise with the ashes or rise with the fire. We want to rise, right? That's how much can you go down? You can't go down that deep. So you still have to, wake up. Yeah, you can relax one corner, forget it, but no. As an entrepreneur, that's why I say the DNA of an entrepreneur is very important. You will rise up no matter what.
You named your business after your daughter, right?
Yes.
So I want to ask you this very important question today that we have to talk about. Is your relationship with your daughter Rupini? Like, we want to find out how was it like back then as a mother to a young child, you're starting a business as well. How was the relationship like with your daughter? Did she understand what you were doing?
Yes. She grew up knowing very well that, that's the business. The mother goes to bridal on Sundays and then come back. Every day I had bridal, day and night. So as we progress, of course, she has been seeing, and sometimes, nobody to look after her. I'll bring her for all the bridal sessions as well. So the jaraya pudi, the clip
So cute.
the poo pudi, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she have seen through all.
Yeah.
So now I'll bring her to the salon. The father will bring her to the salon and all that. They have seen we closing time and all that. All it was, she have seen through. So yes, and the days and time catches up, and then she grows. And I was a very, 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 very strict mother with Rupini.
You being strict, I cannot imagine. You are like a ray of sunshine. Okay, now you need
No. If I have a grandchild, I'll be like, ooh, I'll be like this. I'll be like, no. So, but the thing is, yes, but I only had one child. And I made sure because my goal setting is that, when I gave birth to her itself, she must be a doctor. I want a doctor in this family. You know what I mean? No matter what, okay? So, but I also taught her all the entrepreneur skills as well. She is good in whichever way she turns out to be. If she wanted to be or whatever, she will be good. And that I know for sure. But the growing up is important. And I was very, very strict with our cultures and, how we should fall back to what we believe in, and that will mold a person. And on here, we also believe in spiritualism and meditation. So we made sure that, she grew up with all this knowledge. And of course, we also want her to be a very good leader. So the father was driven to make sure that she becomes a leader, but the father used to give a lot of chellam, but I'll be the tyrant. What are you doing this and that? Sometimes you don't call. I used to be. So she was always like scared of me. But whenever she goes to her my mother-in-law's house, she will loosen out. Then I'll say, so there was a lot of, we were very, very, very strict with her. Then when she went overseas, that's when, I started loosening up. Okay, and she made it, and even her undergrad time itself, I was very, very strict with her because that's when people can go. But she's very, very mindful in the family, and she's a very, very, very strong and good character. She's a very, very good leader. She was in the NCC, so and I was waiting. When is it that I can fall back on her? You know what I mean? And that day arrived right after she entered into medicine.
Right as you're going into that, I think it's a perfect segue into the next question.
Yes.
Because we are going to be talking about a very big turning point in your life.
Right.
In 2011, your daughter went to pursue medicine in Australia.
Yes.
And that's a huge milestone, first of all. And I can't imagine how proud you must have been as a mother.
Yes.
But during such an exciting time came your diagnosis of breast cancer. And I can't imagine, on one hand, feeling so much of pride and joy for your child, and on the other hand, feeling complete panic over the curveball that life has just thrown at you.
Right.
So I want to ask you, can you take us back to that time and how you navigated both feeling pride and panic all at once?
Okay, so it was 2011 and we all preparing, to bring her to Melbourne, and especially me and Rupini. Just the two of us supposed to go, and I was, all excited that, she got her placement and all. So we were just watching, just me and Rupini, we were watching Sex in the City. And that's when, the character Samantha was having this breast cancer issue. And see, that's awareness, right? So after that, I was like, wow. So I don't know what took me to my room. And then I checked and I did my own self-examination. I have no idea what is breast cancer at that time. So then I felt some lump. Then I told my daughter, I said, hey, something's not right. Then after Nala, so I quietly did my work. I called my oncologist, and thankfully I had him in my handphone, and then said, please come tomorrow and we will do ultrasound. So whatever it is. So we did the ultrasound and all that. Then after that, I did, then they found out that there's a lump, and then I went to NUH, and then after they did a biopsy, and I called my friend, who's an insurance agent as well, is my good friend, and I told her, hey, what's going to happen lah, oh, don't worry, and all kind of stuff, or nothing, no news is good news, and it was already like 5 days already, and I thought nothing's going to happen, and I was in the salon doing a training session, and then, and that's when I received a call from the doctor. He said, okay, you got cancer, and I want you to come now. That's it. First thing is, I went straight to to the doctor. I looked at him. I was like, what came into my head was Rupini. Because cancer means what? That sentence. Isi valve mayam. Cancer means munjichu kada. Okay, right. I was like, what am I going to do, doctor? What am I going to do? Rupini is still young. So that was the first thing came. Nothing else came into my
How
head.
old was she then?
She was what? 19?
Oh God.
Yeah. And she's going away.
Yeah.
So, and then, and will I be around to see her be a doctor? Will I be around when she's getting married? So a lot of things, it was just going around my head. And he was holding my hand. He said, no, we'll fight it. But he's also like upset that, I was crying.
Yeah.
And then after he said, no. Okay, you go up to my my friend's surgeon and he will do a biopsy. I'm sorry, he will explain to you and blah, blah, blah. And I went there and then they said, okay, it's stage 1. So there's a lot of hope. But then he said, my friend Swinter was there and he told her it's quite aggressive. So I didn't understand anything. And then then after that, they immediately sent me to a nurse who was explaining to me what are the chemo sessions that I have to go. So everything was blank in my head. My girlfriend was actually perceiving a lot of things and said, your eyebrows will drop. Your lashes will drop. Your hair will go. So I looked at her. I said, I'm here thinking about Rupini. What is she talking about all this to me? So all I know, it was, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with Rupini? Okay? She haven't even start her, being in the university yet. So thankfully, my friend called. And we were still on the job because Rupini had to do an advertisement at that time and endorse a brand where we were bringing out our Divine products at that time. And we were scheduled to have an advertisement done by MediaCorp. And I had no choice, have to hold back all my thought processes and go ahead with whatever we had to do and go for the shoot and come out crying, go for the shoot and come out crying. And then after that, I said, what am I going to do? So blank space, right? Then my friend calls and said, okay, let's go for a second opinion. We will go to Mount E. You're actually heavily injured. When was that? I didn't know. So I thought, okay, it was a divine grace. And that's when I had to go and tell, I went for the second opinion, Parkway Cancer Center, and then they gave me an assurance that, I'll be fine. And then I had the whole thought process of what is breast cancer and what will it do to a woman. And 3 out of 1 woman will have breast cancer back then in 2011. But now the situation is different. Yeah. First thing I told the doctor, I want to settle down Rupini in Melbourne and I'll come back and then I'll get my treatment done. So again, for your question, even then at that time, Rupini was important to me. Okay, so but of course, in the airlines, they will say, right, look after yourself, and then the child. Yeah. But no, for me, it's like I needed to settle down. If not, I will not be able to handle my treatments. Yeah. Thinking what's going on and all that. So yeah, so I did that with the support of some friends over there also, and everything turned out very well for me. And then I left her, and I, not knowing, will I ever see her back again? You know what I mean? That thought process, because we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I came back and we did the surgery, blah, 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 going through the chemo and all that. I was thinking, am I the only Indian cursed woman here? I don't see any other Indians in the chemo, the sessions and all that. So, and again, am I cursed? That process was coming in and I started hiding myself on it. And then after that, 1 month later, hair started falling and I looked so terrible. Pigmentation with the onset of very, very grueling chemotherapies. And then when I went for my radiation every day and in Gleneagles, and that's when I thought, you know what? I think our Indian ladies are all hiding. Rani, you want to make this whole debacle which is going on in your life positive. The only way is to create an awareness. And that's when I will feel positive about it. And why chose me, right? Yeah. Okay, thankfully insurance was there and I could get the best medical care. So how am I going to bring this at that time, I didn't even think of my business. I was just thinking of all the ladies should come. Why is it me? So let's reach out. So I started doing the walk, the divine walk. I had a lot of support from there, and thankfully, I know MediaCorp, Vasantham, and the Straits Times. Everybody came in to create bigger awareness, and that's how a lot of ladies actually did their own self-examination, and they found it at 0 level and stage 1. A lot of them. In fact, I've seen a lot of them. Even the husband used to call me for support. Oh, my wife, what's going to happen to her? I said, nothing. Just say a prayer. Just 0 stage. So everything is perfect. So, so that was what I gave. I felt that was very important for me to give back to the society.
What a meaningful way to turn something that tries to tear you down and use it to elevate, to ensure that other people are better prepared for a situation like that in the future.
I think it's important. That's what it is. We have to partake with all our problems. And I mean, aren't you all doing it? You all are so young. You all are so young. I'm so impressed. I mean, if I back then had this podcast situation, I would be. But yes, a lot of...
But you did what you have done, you know?
Yeah. So until the people will come and ask me, நல்லா இருக்கீங்களா எப்படி இருக்கீங்க உங்களுக்கு ஒன்றும் ஆகல எல்லாம் ஓகே தானே இருக்குங்க that kind of thing. People were not so sure. Even men used to come and ask me, I thought you had breast cancer. The first thing they will look at my breast. Hello.
Excuse me, sir. No.
I said breast cancer means we don't have to remove the breast. So that's why I say
a lot of misconceptions.
Yes, a lot. So of course, I hope everything has changed because I went for a lumpectomy and then, it is not so full blown. But the thing is that my cancer is a hormone receptive cancer. So I have to be on medication throughout. Okay, so this medication actually blocks the hormones. And that's a double whammy for me when being in the beauty industry. I mean, estrogen makes the entire lady, so, So that's where my journey still goes on till now. Coming back to Christians and ending that particular question, I come up with a lot of my own natural products to make things better for the people and the lady and myself and, my hair, my skin, my pride of how I look. Everything is so important, and that's how we radiate to the other people. I mean, we can't be like this all the time. Of course, however you want to put up, whichever way you want to curl your hair and put on your makeup, what is important is inside.
I loved what you just said now. It makes a lot of sense as to why we raise awareness. Sometimes when we go through something very hard, the next thing we want to do is, I don't want the next person to go through what I go through. But these are realizations that come once we have had a composure of our own. Once we have held the ground and realized that, okay, now I can stand on my feet. So I get to I can deal with this situation a little bit more better. So I want to go back a little bit back when you were dealing with all this situation at the very start, the pain, the emotional kind of thing when your daughter is going and things like that. I'm pretty sure that times have changed. Now you have healed a little. Things are better now. But is there anything that you would say that still lingers in your head till today?
If you want me to go back then, right? Yes, because of lack of awareness and the impact of cancer was so great that I wasn't able to manage. Yes. When I was telling my daughter and how she's going to perceive, it was very difficult. There was lots of crying session. Okay, there's a lot of sessions where I had to kneel down in front of my altar and keep asking that kind of questions. Oh my God, I'm feeling it right now. So there was a lot of issues. But the only thing, it would take a moment, and then I'll come back to my room. I have to go through this. I have to go through this. I have to go through this. I want to see Rupini, excel out. I want to see her becoming a doctor. I want to see my business grow. A lot of things was in my head. But again, that was during this medication, chemo time and all that. You can't be able, you can't move. And your brains are just so chemofied, right? Chemo brainer. But little pockets of, the light will come and say, okay. And of course, my friends' support, my family support, seeing them crying in front of me because they become very helpless. I mean, being a strong character myself, which I want to beg to differ right now. I mean, I don't want to be strong anymore. I also want to cry sometimes because you know what? When you go in, when you keep putting up a facade of strong, and you really don't tap into your emotions, and that will keep building, and then you'll break one of these days. Yeah. You have to address your emotions, and for me, it's like I allowed to cry. I allowed myself to vent. I allow myself to get angry, throw things around during the chemo period, and embrace every and flare out and then embrace, flare out and then embrace. But the only mindset was Rupini. How? What? So I didn't want to let go of that. I want her. I want to see her through. Then I can be free from all burdens. I mean, your question again. I wouldn't say I'm healed physically from cancer, but I'm emotionally healed. You know what I mean? I'm emotionally healed, and I have a lot of strength onto how to deal with cancer. Okay, and I feel God will definitely help me. The universe will definitely be there to make sure that I don't fall apart. That kind of confidence I have it because we have done what we have done. We have done unconditionally. And I know some people will say, oh, she did it for a business purpose. No, I wouldn't spend so much money to do such a thing and I didn't get much out of it. I wanted to I don't want to feel guilty about myself, or I don't want to feel the word curse. I'm cursed. I used to cry. Why? And I used to shy out. Am I really cursed? Cancer not cursed, right? Mm-hmm. So, and the way people look at it, oh, that kind of thing. So I said, how am I going to come out of this? So that's when I thought, you know what? I need to heal myself. So that's why I did what I did. And I prayed that it must go very well and everything fall into place again. Because when you're channeling the right thoughts, somehow, it will just, right things will just align for you. Yeah. I'm sure your girls had it in y'all also. So that's why I say the channeling of thoughts is very important.
So beautifully said. I also have to give you so much of credit to the fact that, because I think as we've grown up, we've seen quite a lot of people in our lives probably deal with very similar issues, such as cancer. Yeah. And I feel like you cannot deny the fact that yes, it affects all your loved ones, but it's I feel like the personal growth it takes out of you is like unmeasurable because it's not something somebody else is doing to you. It's something that's happening within your body that's causing a lot of changes physically and mentally. Yeah. So I can't imagine the amount of strength it takes to go through that and come out shining brighter than before. Yes. So I think you are pretty much like a superwoman at this point.
Thank you so much for that. To the superwoman, we want to ask a very important question and we want to leave this episode with an impact. Yes. So the question to you right now is, for people who are putting away their screening, they feel like, it's not the time yet. Let me wait for my 40s. Let me wait for my 45 to go for a screening. People who are, even as silly as it might sound, let's just admit to the fact that some people are scared. Like till date, I will admit to the fact that I will always follow my mom. As long as I'm in Singapore, I will always follow my mom for all her medical appointments. And yet, till date, the moment I step foot inside a hospital, there's nothing going on there. I get sick to my stomach, Like it's just so some people are just afraid to go inside the hospital to even do a check. Yes. So to the superwoman, I want to ask is, what would you want to say to these people?
I can be very, very blunt, but I can be very soft as well. But I think the blunt side must come out first. Everybody's going to get cancer. Everybody's going to get a heart attack. Okay, number one, insure yourself first. Stop insuring your car. Insure yourself first. Self. Okay, that's very important. After that, make sure the screening part is so important, even as young as you all are. Okay, because one of my friends, at the same time, I was diagnosed, and her name is Sureka. She was 20-something at that time. Okay, she was barely in her late 20s, I think. Yeah, she was also diagnosed with the same type of cancer. So it can hit anybody. It can also hit men. Okay, so what I would say is early screening is so important and never neglect yourself. you are going to get it, lah. Okay, you are going to get it. So no matter what, because the way we are, our lifestyle and what are we exposed to back then, no. Okay, our grandmothers all used to grind. Okay, and now everything is done for you. So you less exercise and the type of fast food. Don't have to wait till 40s. Just be very mindful. Listen to your body. When you feel that something is not right, straight away go to the doctor. So early detection is so important. It can just save you. Don't wait till the last minute at one stage and nothing can be done. And you'll be going through so much pain. So be mindful that this is going to happen to me and I have to do it. And I have to do it. It's not just one person getting it. Everybody is getting it. Now it's like common. I'm sure you all know. It's very common.
Yeah.
Rani, can I just say, I wish I could talk to you all day, but unfortunately, I have to wrap up this interview. Thank you so much for joining us.
I love this session anyway.
I think your story is such a powerful reminder that real beauty lives in how we rise, in motherhood, in business, and all the silent battles that life throws at us.
Yes.
It was such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much. I didn't know it was going to be so easy. and fun.
But before we wrap up this episode, I think it's time for quote of the month. Something to take away beyond this conversation. So I'll pass it right over to you, Ms. Priyanka.
I really like this month's quote of the month. If I may say so myself, the quote of the month is, your wound is not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. And I feel like it is very apt for today's day and age, whereby I seriously feel that we need to be a little more grounded, a little more acceptive towards what's happening around us. Whatever that you're going through, it is always going to be your responsibility to heal yourself. It might take 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You might never heal from it. But I think it's important to walk that path of healing.
Very beautifully said. With that, we will catch you guys with a new guest and a new cup of tea in the next episode. This is Priya
And Priyanka
on Sit Still, Look Pretty, 'cause girl, you're more than a quick gaze.